It's the GITA Interviews, the premier global IT solution podcast, where we talk to the CEOs and business leaders who are growing their companies through global partnerships. I'm your host, Emery Geosits, the Executive Director of the Global IT Alliance. Hi, and welcome to the GITA Interviews. I'm honored today to be joined by Billy Yeung from JOS Hong Kong. Billy is the CEO of JOS and has been with the company 5 years. How long have you been with the company, Billy?
Around 5 years.
5 years, I got it right. That's great. Well, welcome to our podcast, the GITA Interviews. Happy to have you today. How are you and how are things in Hong Kong?
Very good. All is well, and a lot of YouTube, but everything else is fine.
Good. Yeah, good. So, the big elephant in everybody's room is COVID, what 2020 was like. So tell us a little bit about how, in 2020, COVID changed your strategy at JOS and how you had to adapt.
Well, I think in Hong Kong, the traditional doing business is face-to-face. In Asia, face-to-face contact is extremely important. Because of COVID, things have changed. So we weren't able to communicate face-to-face with customers, so we had to do online. And this is something which I think technology is very advanced, but yet it was the customer's acceptance that took a little bit of time. So during COVID, I learned from the beginning a very novice at Zoom and Team to become now I'm still a novice in terms of technology, but I think I'm adapt to the using Teams and Zoom very, very regularly now.
Yeah, it certainly has become our best friend when it comes to technology. So I'm sure that when you guys started out 2020, you had great initiatives you were going to begin within your organization and a great path to what you were going to accomplish in 2020. Tell me a little bit about the change you had to make to your business strategy when COVID hit.
I think the effect of COVID was that two things. One, because of COVID, customers, especially big customers, had to rethink about their strategy and their operation. Especially COVID, because you didn't work at home, we had a lot of them had to work remotely, and because we were remotely, things of security was always a requirement, but it came to necessity. And also because COVID is something which, as you know, is easily catchable, but though it's not 100% deadly, but at least once you catch it, you need to take precautions. So instantaneously, that office or that location became out of bounds, so you had to work at home. And then we had to deal with instant remote access immediately. Okay. The second thing for COVID is that because the economy was like that, people were a bit slow in terms of their planning, longer in terms of decision making. So that in terms of the implementation, that took more than the normal accepted times for it to be completed.
Yeah, extending on a lot of projects is a lot of what we heard. The good news is when you look at financial forecasts and global forecasts around the world, 2021, they're predicting unprecedented growth, especially the second half, Q3 and Q4 of the year. So can you talk a little bit about what's in store for you guys? I know you cover mainland China, you cover Hong Kong, Malaysia, several of the other countries around you. So what are you seeing as what's coming in the second half of 2021 for JOS?
Actually, COVID has made us rethink about the strategy going forward. And I think some of the after effects of COVID will continue even when COVID recovers. We actually see customers now are now thinking of reducing more cost in terms of communication with customers. Actually, it's become more efficient because in the past, face-to-face took a bit of time, traveling. Now through online, my sales team actually can visit 2, 3, 4 customers in the morning, whereas in the past, just one call. Secondly, because of COVID, actually kicks on the effect of people being more cost-conscious. And in Hong Kong, because we are a challenger rather than protecting our own turf, I think it's been a great opportunity for us because now customers and corporate customers are now looking at their IT costs and saying, hey, maybe there is a way to reduce that cost, or maybe there's another way of doing things. And also now offline to online is something which we've been pushing. And I think the acceptance of online cloud, that has been spurred to be much quicker in terms of adoption. And that's what we've seen. That's the positive side.
Billy, that's a great point. I was talking to some of our colleagues, and one of the interesting things is for years we've been trying to convince customers to move to the cloud. Then all of a sudden, in the matter of a couple of months, they all ran to the cloud. So it was really a huge uptick when it comes to that. What would you say your key focus of the overall organization is? What are you selling to customers now that perhaps you weren't in the past?
I think the whole paradigm shift has changed in terms of IT in Hong Kong and around. Probably you'll see that actually the supply of labor is not as much now. IT is not sexy anymore. Secondly, traveling is probably still not really practical. So in terms of IT support is a limitation. And thirdly, in terms of budget, although it's recovering, but still customers are very conservative. So I think going forward, us being able to help customers offload their IT total cost, the IT spend, not just the servers and hardware, but the people as well. I think that is something which I see to be a great opportunity moving forward, helping our customers reducing this so they actually can focus on their own business.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, Billy, we all know that what we're seeing in 2021 and probably the early part of 2022 is the supply chain slowdown. Globally, everywhere around the world, there's supply chain issues, from chips to glass to all those things that are important to successful. How are you being affected, if at all, by the supply chain in Asia?
I think everyone's affected, but hopefully, because we also supply not only the IT infrastructure, we also supply the network infrastructure as well. So then we're able to complement the on-site support with offline communication, because at the end of the day, fast communication, fast transmission is important. I think that going forward, I think this will be something which will help us to actually further our IT support and IT services to our customers, because we can offer both not only the IT side, but also the network transmission side as well.
I see. You cover a lot of countries within your organization. Is there a particular country that stands out to you that is in hypergrowth mode in 2021 and 2022?
I think all countries are now recovering. However, when I look at these countries, I don't look at this country in isolation. Actually, all industries now are very multinational and regional, so that if you do a hotel, they're actually in different countries. And our edge is not really being good in one country, it's being competent and sufficient in all countries. So then we actually can alleviate the customer's pain. So then you can have a solution cut across regional, multi-countries with a peace of mind, rather than doing one thing good in one country.
That makes a lot of sense. So I know 2021 was crazy, especially when it comes to the employees of JOS. I know many of the employees that work there. I've worked with them for many years. They're all stellar, great people. Is there anything that stands out for you of the performance of your organization in the middle of the pandemic in 2020?
We are quite lucky through our integration to be able to meet a group of great people. In JOS, they were a group of very technical people. And then when we merged them, we had a group of people who were very sales orientated. So the salespeople can look after the customers, account servicing, customer support, and then technical people can go in and do what they need to do. So it's really a complementary. The second thing is that we always focus on performance and focus. So what we wanted to do is give each, we call we don't call them staff, we call them talent, give them a focus, give them a purpose, give them resources to do what they're good at. And we have actually found that this, giving them purpose and giving them motivation, that's something that's helped us grow and continue to grow in the coming future.
That's fantastic. And I can echo what you're saying. You have a lot of talent within JOS. So that's something that's for sure great experience with the whole organization. So you have now been a member of GITA. JOS is one of the founding members of GITA. Tell me a little bit about how GITA helps you do business throughout your geographies and geographies around the world.
I think especially being part of GITA, we are now have coverage in the places where we don't have our own operation. So I think for customers, especially big customers, what they want is a peace of mind. So when we go to them and we tell them that we have coverage in these countries, and this is through a strong partnership, great coordination, and great support, that gives them comfort. Secondly, is that with coverage around the world, we actually have ears to ground to actually know what's happening in technology. And technology is always advancing, but we can quickly understand how technology affects customers and how to use technology. And then so we can actually reduce the learning curve very quickly and actually apply the technology to the customer, showing them how to use the technology rather than just telling them what the technology is. And that's something I think Jita has actually enhanced our brand, but also our knowledge in terms of what is happening around the world.
Yeah, very true. So, as we wrap up here, Billy, one of the things I'm curious about, I've asked all of your colleagues this question as well, is, what, once all of the fog of COVID lifts throughout the world, what is the one thing personally and professionally that you're looking forward to more than anything else?
I think seeing people face to face, although technology is very good, very advanced, very efficient, I still believe that the relationships with customer is built on not only your communication, it's also the face-to-face communication, meeting people, and it's not, and also relationship is not built just around the boardroom or the office, right? It's built around your life outside the office, and do you share common interests? Are you a nice person to work with? Is the company a good partner to work with? I think that's something is just as important as how good you are. It's who you are and what your DNA is.
For sure. And that includes us. We've never met face to face. So I'm very much looking forward to doing that either in the States or there in Hong Kong.
Right.
Well, I certainly appreciate you joining me today. Have a great evening. That's the GITA Interviews. I'm Emery, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the GITA Interviews. To find out more about the Global IT Alliance, please visit www.gita.com or follow us for more great interviews.